Terra Classic fan, we have just 2 days left for a critical update proposal. Now, the proposal I am talking about is this signaling proposal for a USTC incremental REPEG proposal. This proposal was put up by Redline Drifter. You can see a lot of detail about this proposal in a post he made. It's quite extensive and thorough, so I would recommend you guys go ahead and read this. But what's so important here about this is that we only have 2 days left on this proposal. Now, right now this proposal is passing. You can see the abstain votes, but abstain doesn't count towards passing. What it is for passing is how it is yes compared to no plus no with veto. As long as the yes votes are higher than the no and no with veto, then a proposal passes. So abstain doesn't really matter for the purpose of a proposal passing or not, which is important to note here. So this is passing, but currently we only have about 55% of the vote. So if we do get a large validator or two who come in here and vote no, this proposal would not be passed anymore. So it's important that you guys go out there, make sure that your voice is heard, vote on this proposal. Now, what is this proposal aiming to do? To be very clear with something right off the bat, this proposal will not be implemented in any code for a USTC REPEG. Instead, what this is a signaling proposal for us to indicate that we want to pursue Redline's plan. Now, Redline's plan has some interesting ideas. I think it is best illustrated in simple terms by the examples that he gave down here. So let's go through a couple of these different scenarios that he gave. First of all, if the price of PEG is below $1 value, let's say that you try and sell one for 95 cents, the buyer pays 95 cents for the $1 USTC, the seller receives 90 cents, and the protocol receives 5 cents in divergent fees. So essentially what this is doing is as the price differentiates from the $1 PEG, what would happen is that there's then a fee that's basically the spread, the difference between that $1 PEG and the price that's actively being sold at. And so in this case, there's a 5-cent spread between the price that is being sold out and the $1 PEG. And so what happens is the seller ends up receiving a fee that changes depending on that difference. In this case, that would be 5 cents. Let's say in theory the price actually goes above $1, which I know we all would dream that that's the problem we have. There's definitely worse problems we could have, like what we have right now with the price being way off of $1. But let's say we go above $1. We go to $1.10. The buyer's going to pay $1.10. The seller is going to only receive $1, and the protocol receives 10 cents in fees. Again, reiterated here, the market price minus the target PEG price equals the divergence fee. This of course means that if the price is at the desired PEG price, there is no fee implemented because then you're matching the desired price. There's no difference between the actively traded market price and the desired price. So you're not going to pay a fee in that scenario, which is definitely good. And this really is trying to encourage the PEG. Now, there's a lot of opinions that people have about this, of course, and there's more information here as to what's happening. But essentially what we're doing on this is we're voting yes or no to try and signal, do we want these different exchanges to actually go ahead and research this idea? Or do we want to see if they're in for this idea or not? So really what we're trying to signal here is, can we actually do this? Is this something that we want to pursue? Do we want to see if the development team can actually implement this? Is this physically possible? And then will exchanges be willing to actually implement this different fee? If we only have this on the Terra Classic network, it's not really as productive as if it's actually implemented on exchanges as well. So we want to try and get the buy-in from major exchanges. Of course, Binance would be one of those major exchanges. And so by voting yes on this proposal, what you're signaling is that you want this to be researched further. You want to see, is this possible? Can we make this happen? And are exchanges willing to actually implement something like this? But again, we have just 2 days left to vote on this proposal. It's not like this is going to go live right away, but it's important for us to go ahead, make sure we get this proposal either to pass with a yes or a no vote, depending on what you want to do. I can respect both sides here, but we want to make sure that we have that decided here in 2 days. And then from that point, if we vote yes, we can start going down the steps to actually implementing this, starting with seeing if it's practically possible and if exchanges are willing to do it. And then after that, then we start getting into actually making some changes and implementing some code, but that's going to be a couple months down the line. And so for me personally, I think this is something that's worth at least looking into. I don't think it's a bad idea by any means. I think that's something that has some potential, and we should definitely see, are exchanges willing to do it? Because if exchanges aren't willing to do it, then it can just end right there. We don't have to keep going at that point. But if exchanges are willing to actually do this, this is something that could be a somewhat quicker way for us to actually revive USTC. So it's something that, in my opinion, is worth us looking into. If you want to know what this could do for Terra Classic coming up, check out this video up here, and I'll catch you on the next one.